Hey, fabulous eighth graders. It is Miss Haig with your weekly announcements for week 14, December 7th through the 13th. All right, I hope you were able to complete the test and it went all right for you. Um, Believe it or not, we are just about to hop into our last unit for the semester. A couple of things. Please watch the video announcements that I put together each week. I know they're kind of boring. I get that, but I do try and give you some guidance on how to navigate the lessons and give you any advice that I can. So much appreciated if you do that. This is our final unit for the semester. If you notice, I did cut out 3 lessons that I didn't think were all that essential because I like to stick to 2 lessons per week. And I would encourage you to start the lesson on federalism earlier in the week rather than waiting. It's a longer lesson. And if you want to do it to where you really understand it, you're going to need a little bit of think time. Your service learning part B, which is your reflection and submission of, your reflection on it, is due on January 3rd. I've had probably a quarter of you turn them in, which is fantastic. If you haven't turned it in, please think about when you might get that done between now and January 3rd. If you happen to be working on something that is going to take longer than that, send me an email, let me know, and then you would just fill out the service learning part B as a work in progress with a new timeline if need be. All right, so this lesson, we are going to be looking at sharing powers and introduction. And if you notice, there isn't anything that is required or even recommended. You are welcome to do the pre-assessment if you would like, and then we'll get into federalism. So taking a look at this unit or at this lesson, it basically talks about shared powers and why it's important to do that. And it encourages you to take the pre-test. You will notice that I made sure you knew that it was optional. It helps you really to know what's coming in a class that is content specific like this rather than skills like literacy and math. It gives you a preview of what's to come, but it's up to you if you want to do it. I don't. All right, so federalism is the big thing that we're looking at this week. It is a long lesson. You're going to notice that there's some vocabulary. I tried to reorganize this a little bit. A lot of kids have been missing the vocabulary, so I thought maybe this would help. Lots of vocabulary. We'll talk about 3 of them, delegated, enumerated, concurrent, and reserved powers in class, but the others you're going to have to snag on your own. And we're going to really start digging in with types of powers in tab 2. And so tab 1 really just gets you to lean in and think about who's responsible when there's some sort of natural disaster or something else that happens. Federalism, it digs in a little bit more here, and it invites you to try and figure out where different powers go. You guys know I like the text version. It's very, very straightforward. I do encourage you to come to class because we're going to talk about why these are important and what it means to be delegated to the national government, reserved to the state, or shared. So you can see that's going to be the first thing we're going to do. And then looking at the 10th Amendment, and we'll do that on Tuesday, just talking about what it means that the Founding Fathers said, yeah, if it's not in the Constitution, states can deal with it. It ended up being a tremendous amount of power that was going to the states. So that's what we're going to be looking at on Tuesday. And then Friday in class, we're going to be looking at whom do you call in certain situations. And we're actually going to talk about the coronavirus and the distribution of the vaccine. It's not in Buzz, but I think it'd be interesting. Who would be in charge in a significant storm like the one that happened, was it 3 years now? 3 years ago now, and then tribal governments. And so if you notice, Buzz talks a little bit about local governments. I skipped that part. The who do you call is kind of interesting because it gets into, in a situation, is it local, state, or national? And then this who's in charge is a little bit weird, so I only took one thing from it. Tribal governments are really, really interesting as well, and so I took something from that. All right, nerds, my 5 minutes is up. Have a great week.